You pay your credit card balance in full every single month. You track every dollar on a spreadsheet. You do everything right. So why, on the 28th of every month, does your stomach still knot up when you open your banking app? Why do you still feel broke? The banking system wants you to believe you're failing, but the truth is much more dangerous. Your brain is being hacked by a system designed to make spending money completely painless, and it's working exactly as planned. Think about how we live today across America and Europe. We've been conditioned to worship the cult of the credit score. We are told that maximizing cash back, chasing travel rewards, and collection points is the ultimate sign of financial maturity. Slick marketing campaigns tell you that you're playing the game smart, turning debt into a luxury vacation. But if you're so smart, why do you feel so exhausted? Welcome to the invisible financial fog. It's that exact nauseating gray space where your actual net worth is growing, but your daily reality feels completely stagnant. You watch your peers buy new cars, lease luxury apartments, and post dynamic vacation photos while you sit at home checking a spreadsheet, wondering if you missed a memo. Here is the secret the banking industry doesn't want you to know. You don't feel wealthy because your credit card has systematically disconnected your brain from your reality. Psychologists call it a cognitive delay. By separating the joy of buying from the actual pain of losing money, they have created a friction-free ecosystem. You are doing the right things, but because the numbers on your screen don't match the visceral feeling of security, your brain screams that you are failing. You are trapped in a fog engineered by multi-billion-dollar institutions, and the anxiety you feel every month is the direct result of a psychological war you didn't even know you were fighting. If you are tired of doing everything right and still feeling like you're losing, you need to understand the structural mechanics of the trap. Today, we are going to burn off the fog, look directly at the math, and dismantle the exact behavioral science used to keep you financially numb. Let's look at the actual architecture of this game. Go on YouTube or TikTok right now in the US or Europe, and you will find a massive community dedicated to credit card churning. Thousands of videos promising you free flights to Paris, luxury lounge access, and 5% cash back on groceries. They call it rewards hacking. They frame it as a sophisticated financial hobby where you outsmart Wall Street by using their own plastic against them. You feel like a genius when you look at your point balance. You feel like you're winning. But let's strip away the marketing gloss and look at the brutal reality of the math. According to official data from the New York Federal Reserve, total U.S. credit card debt crossed a staggering $1.28 trillion. Think about that number, $1.28 trillion. At the exact same time, the average APR, or annual percentage rate, climbed to a ruthless 22.4%. That is the highest sustained interest rate environment we have seen in decades. Now ask yourself a logical question. If everyone out there is successfully hacking the system, if everyone is taking free vacations on Visa's dime, how are these credit card companies posting record-breaking multi-billion-dollar profits quarter after quarter? The answer is simple. The game is rigged and the rewards are the bait. There is a massive structural contrast between how you view your credit card and how credit card issuers view you. You see a tool for optimization. You look at that 1.5 or 2% cash back and think you're getting a discount on life. But Visa, MasterCard, and American Express look at that exact same cash back and see an investment. They aren't giving you free money out of the goodness of their hearts. They are paying a customer acquisition cost to alter your behavioral psychology. The industry calls this interchange and interest mechanics. Every time a bank offers a massive 60,000-point sign-up bonus, they know exactly what the math dictates. They know that a high percentage of people who open that card to get the free vacation will inevitably stumble. Life happens. A medical bill hits, a car transmission blows, or a job transition occurs. Suddenly, that consumer carries a balance for just 2 or 3 months. At a 22.4% interest rate, the interest accumulated on a standard balance completely wipes out years of accumulated cash back rewards in a matter of weeks. The banks aren't losing the game. They are funding your 2% cash back using the financial blood of your neighbors who are drowning in that 22.4% interest trap. But it goes even deeper than that. Let's look at the people who actually do pay their balance in full every single month. The people like you. You might think you're immune to the trap because you've never paid a single dime in credit card interest. You look at your zero balance statement every month as a badge of honor, but the credit card companies are still smiling. Why? Because the data shows that even when you pay in full, the mere presence of a credit card increases your total transaction volume. Retail and behavioral studies consistently track a phenomenon where consumers using credit cards spend significantly more per transaction than those using cold hard cash or immediate debit transfers. The point system gamifies consumption. You find yourself spending an extra $40 at the grocery store or clicking Buy Now on Amazon just to hit a minimum spend requirement or to round out your points for the month. You think you're outsmarting the system by getting a $500 flight, but you completely ignore the fact that the card subtly nudged you to spend an extra $3,000 over the course of the year to get it.
The system doesn't need you to default to win. They just need you to participate in the frictionless velocity of spending. But credit card companies didn't just stumble into this profitability by accident using discount math. They won because they hired the best neuroscientists in the world who know exactly how your brain operates the moment you pull out your wallet. To understand why you feel broke despite doing everything right, we have to look inside your skull. We have to look at a groundbreaking series of neural studies conducted at MIT. Researchers put consumers into fMRI brain scanners and watched their neural activity in real time as they made purchasing decisions. First, they had them buy items using cold, physical cash. What they discovered flipped the field of behavioral economics on its head. The moment a subject handed over a physical $20 bill, the brain scanners lit up. But it wasn't the pleasure center of the brain that fired. It was an area called the insula. In human anatomy, the insula is the exact region of the brain that fires when you experience intense physical distress. It's what triggers when you stub your toe, slam your finger in a door, or smell something completely repulsive. Scientists call this phenomenon the pain of paying. To your primitive evolutionary brain, physical money is an extension of resources. It represents energy, time, and safety. Giving it away is processed by your biology as a literal physical loss. It hurts. That pain acts as a built-in biological brake system. It is a natural friction that forces you to pause, hesitate, and ask yourself, do I actually need this? But then, the MIT researchers changed the variable. They gave the exact same subjects a credit card. The twist, when these subjects slid that piece of plastic across the counter, the insula went completely dark. The pain centers completely shut down. The brain recorded absolutely zero physical distress. By replacing cash with plastic, and now with seamless systems like Apple Pay, Google Pay, and contactless chips across the US and Europe, banks have successfully performed a psychological lobotomy on your financial guardrails. They didn't just make transactions faster, they made spending completely, beautifully, and dangerously painless. Renowned behavioral economist Dan Ariely heavily documented this psychological bypass. He explained that a credit card systematically detaches two crucial components of a transaction: the joy of consumption and the pain of payment. When you buy a brand new leather jacket with cash, the pleasure of holding the jacket and the pain of losing your cash happen at the exact same millisecond. The pain dilutes the pleasure. You stay rational. But when you swipe a credit card, you get 100% of the pleasure of the jacket today, while the pain of payment is mathematically postponed. It is pushed 30 days into the future. It is buried inside a digital multi-line invoice that you won't even look at until next month. By the time you actually pay the bill, the memory of buying the jacket is entirely gone. You aren't paying for an item anymore. You are simply paying an abstract bill to a faceless corporation. The natural friction of commerce has been entirely sterilized. and the financial cost of this neural hack is devastatingly specific. Ariely's research, along with subsequent consumer behavior studies across Western economies, proved that removing this friction causes the average consumer to spend 15 to 20% more on the exact same items compared to using cash. It is not a matter of willpower, it is a matter of biology. Your brain is physically incapable of fighting a system that silences your internal alarm bells. This is exactly why you find yourself staring at your screen at the end of the month, wondering where the money went. You didn't make a massive, catastrophic financial mistake. You didn't buy a yacht. You simply suffered from 1,000 microtransactions that your brain never registered as real. You are navigating a world designed to keep you financially numb. But this raises an even deeper, more uncomfortable question. If the system is designed to make you spend carelessly, why is it that the people who actively fight back, the people who track every single cent on a spreadsheet, are often the ones experiencing the highest levels of daily financial anxiety? To understand that paradox, we have to look at what happens when you decide to force your brain to feel the pain that the banking system tried to erase. Think about your daily life. Why is it that you, the person who catalogs every receipt, who built a custom color-coded Excel sheet, feel completely broke while your coworker doesn't even know their banking password? Why do you feel completely broke while they look entirely relaxed? It comes down to a profound psychological reflection. The person who lives in complete financial ignorance swipes their card for a $300 dinner, buys the premium subscription, and orders Uber Eats 3 times a week. Because their brain centers are numbed by the credit card hack, they experience absolutely zero friction. They are operating under a dangerous illusion of wealth. They feel incredibly rich because they are completely blind to the bleed. But you are a tracker. When you sit down at your desk on a Sunday night, open up that spreadsheet and type in a cold, hard number, $80 for utilities, $45 for gas, $120 for groceries, you are manually forcing your brain's pain centers to wake up. You are grabbing a spotlight and shining it directly onto your losses. Every line item is a conscious choice.
Every cell update is a reminder of scarcity. You feel poor, you feel anxious, and you feel the weight of every dollar because you are the only person in the room brave enough to look directly at the truth. Your anxiety isn't a sign that you are doing badly, it's a sign that you are hyper-aware. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Drive through any corporate parking lot or upscale suburban neighborhood in America or Western Europe. What do you see? A sea of pristine, blacked-out, leased luxury vehicles. Audi, BMW, Tesla. Now look at yourself. Maybe you're driving a dented 2017 Honda Civic. It's paid off, it runs perfectly, it costs you next to nothing. Yet, when you pull into work and park next to that shiny $70,000 leased SUV, a small, toxic voice in your head whispers, "Why am I working this hard just to live like this? Look at them, they've figured it out." But let's look past the sheet metal. The driver of that leased SUV is trapped in a brutal, cyclical theater of consumerism. Across Western society, the parking lot is a massive, highly coordinated lie. It's a stage where people perform wealth. They don't own that car, the dealership owns it. They are locked into a non-negotiable $800 a month payment for the next 36 months just to maintain a fragile social status. They are entirely dependent on their next paycheck to keep the illusion from shattering. They are running on a treadmill that is spinning faster than they can keep up. Meanwhile, what is your paid-off Honda Civic doing? It's freeing up $800 every single month. And where is that money going? It's not vanishing into a depreciating asset. It is quietly flowing straight into your brokerage account. It is buying shares of low-cost index funds. It is purchasing real, yielding assets that compound while you sleep. The corporate parking lot is performing wealth. Your brokerage account is building wealth. The tragedy of modern personal finance is that building true wealth is an incredibly quiet, boring, and invisible process. You can't post your compounding interest on Instagram. You can't drive your automated retirement contributions down the highway to show your neighbors. Real wealth is the money you don't spend. It is the freedom you hold in reserve. So when you look at your spreadsheet tonight and feel that familiar knot in your stomach, understand exactly what that feeling is. That isn't the feeling of poverty. It is the feeling of discipline, breaking through a system engineered to keep you asleep. But knowing this is only half the battle. How do we take this internal friction, this emotional weight, and turn it into an absolute psychological weapon to achieve permanent freedom? But knowing this is only half the battle. How do we take this internal friction, this emotional weight, and turn it into an absolute psychological weapon to achieve permanent freedom? First, change your perspective entirely. That heavy, uncomfortable knot in your stomach when you look at your banking app, that is not the feeling of poverty. It is not the sign of failure. It is the direct, unfiltered consequence of financial awakening. It is the price of awareness. The emotional discomfort you feel is the natural friction acting as a firewall, fiercely protecting your hard-earned cash from quietly slipping into the pockets of multi-billion-dollar banking institutions. The system wants you numb. It wants you to stay on the treadmill, swiping blissfully until your net worth bleeds out. When you force yourself to feel the numbers, you take back control of the board. You are no longer the target. You are the operator. So let's stop playing their game by their rules. True financial maturity across modern society isn't about collecting nominal airline points while inflating your cost of living. It is about building a quiet, bulletproof moat of real assets that no marketing algorithm can touch. I want to leave you with a direct question to reflect on tonight. When was the last time you looked at an item, had more than enough room on your credit limit to buy it, but calmly chose to say no? In that exact second, did you feel a wave of regret, or did you feel a sudden surge of absolute raw freedom? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me about your current setup, your spreadsheet, or the specific mental traps you are fighting right now. In this community, we don't hide our financial friction. We look directly at it, we map it, and we solve it with cold, hard math. Keep your eyes wide open, keep optimizing your actual net worth, and stay disciplined. I will see you in the next deep dive.